Hey everyone, welcome back, fifth and sixth graders. So nice to see you here at Schoology again. This week we're going to talk a little bit about nonfiction and a lot about robots, coding, and programming. So I have a piece of nonfiction called Making Robots, and I wanted to show you a few features of this nonfiction book. So as I was trying to decide which book I wanted to show you, I wanted to see, does this book have anything to do with coding? So I immediately went to the index, which I'm sure fifth and sixth grade, you've all seen an index before. And I thought, wow, I don't see the word coding. I wonder why that is. So I continued to look at what is in the index, and I came across the word programmers and programs. So I immediately knew this was going to talk about coding. So I knew it was a good choice to show you today. So one of the interesting things about this piece of nonfiction is when you first open up, it doesn't have your traditional table of contents page. It actually has a little bit of information first, and then it has a pictorial table of contents, which is pretty unique. You don't always see pictures in the table of contents. So this book is pretty unique. It has some great features. I wanted to share with you one of those features, which is a timeline. And we'll talk a lot about history here in this book. And one of the things that you should know is that Joseph Marie Jacquard invented a textile machine which makes fabrics or rugs, carpets, and it was called a programmed loom. It operated using punch cards. So there were no computers back in 1801, long, long ago, but they were able to create a system that this programmable robot could follow using these punch cards. So this is a long time coming, and the development of robots that can work on their own, which is the word autonomous. So this is a page I wanted to highlight. Speaking of the word autonomous, working robots are one of the things that we will investigate this year, how robots work for us or how they're helpful. So during the mid 20th century, the 1900s, engineers began trying to develop robots that could do useful work. Two American inventors, George Devol and Joseph Engelberger, designed a programmable robot arm in the 1950s. They called it the Unimate. It could perform repetitive factory work that was considered too dangerous for human workers. So this robot was not replacing a human worker. It was actually going to do some work that was too dangerous. It could handle some of the pieces of metal for cars that was too hot for humans to hold. So it became a very useful device. Over time, engineers have learned how to make robots autonomous. That means that they work independently. You download the program, and then the robot can work on its own. So that has been in the making for a very long time. We have some robots around the home that this book goes into. And then I wanted to show you some information about both software developers and programmers. So software developers develop the software that the robot will then use to react to different situations. The programmers work with the software developers. They're skilled in a programming language, so we will be learning the language Blockly, which is a drag and drop, and most of you will be familiar with that at code.org. But programmers take the ideas from the developers, they write the code containing the actual instructions for the robot. So when we talk about a program, that's all of the lines of code that will be needed for the robot to do the specific task. So code and program kind of go together. You work with lines of code first to build a program, and then the program is run or downloaded to the robot, and it can do its job. You'll be looking at debugging quite a bit, which is something that programmers work on a lot. One other thing I wanted to show you in this book is it talks about Vex Robotics, which is something that we will talk about this year. Later on, I'm actually trying to work on some ways in which you can be programming possibly that we could work with the Vex robots, and then I can video record kind of our work that we've worked on together. So that's just a short bit of nonfiction that I wanted to show you to explain, the world is always changing and our technology is always advancing. So when we're coding and we're working through our unit on code.org, the end goal is to create something fun. So a lot of robots are created for our entertainment. So we're going to practice coding in Blockly through code.org to learn first for several weeks. And then we'll move into a project where you're actually going to create something. You're going to become a creator rather than a consumer using what you've learned. So you'll maybe create a game similar to the ones that I had posted, or you might create a piece of moving artwork. The possibilities are pretty big, so we'll get into that probably in December. We'll spend most of November just learning some things. So when you go into the November folder, you will either click on 5th grade code or 6th grade code. I will be emailing you your secret picture password information. I wanted to give a quick shout out. We have 2 people, actually 3 now, that have already reached out to me to get their info. So they're kind of having a head start. Ronnie Fry from 6th grade and Logan Hamrick from 6th grade. Thanks so much for getting in there and getting started. And then Reese Reed from 5th grade just reached out to me. So I'm super excited as I'm creating this to see some of you are watching the lesson from November 9th and you're moving into looking into coding. But I will email you those codes. It might take me a little while because there's quite a few of you and only one of me, but I'll do my best to get those out to you so that you can get started. You can hop in there. So today, take a few minutes, read a little bit of nonfiction, and then hop into our code. You want to spend most of your time today coding and learning those skills. So take some time to enjoy some reading, learn something of interest to you, and then we'll pop into coding and we'll just slowly progress each week. So I'm excited to see where this takes us. I hope you are all having a fantastic week, and I'll see you the next time.